Creep Night, sure to send a chill down your spine. Welcome to Creep Night! In this episode, we're gonna take a look in the mirror. When I was a small girl, my mother bought a mirror from a garage sale. She hung it up in her room. Well, the first night went fine. The second night was fine. It wasn't until a group of friends of mine decided we would have a sleepover. Well, one of the girls decided we would play a game. She had brought an Ouija board to my house. Now, thank goodness, my mother was not around to see this because she was very superstitious in these kind of practices. My best friend, Alexa, decided she would go first. We had put the board on the nightstand. While looking in the mirror, we decided to ask it a few questions. Alexa went first. She asked it who her future husband would be, and it replied with an answer of unsure. Then it went on to me, who asked it what its name was. The board quickly started making circle motions. I got a little intense about it, but shrugged it off, thinking maybe one of the other girls were making these motions and pushing it to do it. But then it got weird, because another girl named Jenny had said, well, if you're in this board, why don't you take possession of the mirror and show us your face? I really didn't like the fact that she was taunting something that she couldn't see. My friends reassured me that this was just a game. There was nothing serious about it. What could something so innocent do? Well, I wish I had been warned a lot sooner. Because what we were about to step into would be a night that none of us would ever forget for a very long time. And it would be a night full of terror. At first, half of the night went good, actually. We had pizza, we were watching movies, the typical teenager stuff. But then, midnight struck. We all started to get very jittery and uneasy. And the room just felt very cold. I remember at the time, we only had one bathroom. And Jenny really had to go. And I told her, hey, just go down the hall. It's right on the front end. And she went. Well, little did I know that I would hear a loud, terrified scream come out of that bathroom. All my friends and I ran to that bathroom. And when we opened the door, she was standing in front of the mirror, almost like she had been hypnotized to it. And she just kept screaming and screaming and screaming. No one could understand what she was screaming about, because there was nothing in the mirror. And there was nothing in there. Nothing beside her. Just absolute nothing. And it was silent. I remember it being very silent, and my hair on my arms started to stand up. Jenny wound up calling her mom to pick her up, and they left. She never really did tell me what happened. But after these other encounters, I kind of knew. Alexa went into the kitchen to get something to drink. Well, it wasn't long until she, too, was starting to scream. We all ran in there, but again, there was nothing there. But the hair on my arms started to stand up even more. I could feel like this electric vibe to my skin, almost as if it was telling me that something dangerous was about to happen. Something unpredictable was about to approach onto us. It had taken every ounce of me to convince my friend Alexa to stay and not leave. I didn't want my sleepover to be ruined by some silly little game that we had played earlier and maybe had just creeped ourselves out. But she was dead set on leaving, so she called her mom to pick her up. While she was waiting with us, she heard something in the distance, something almost as if it had been calling to her. She quickly got up and started heading back into the house, which I was a little shocked since she had already been terrified and wanted to leave so bad. She walked down the hallway and into my mother's room. She stopped at the mirror and said, "Zulu, Zulu, Zulu," and what appeared next had us all screaming in terror. When we looked in the mirror, there had been a shadow in the mirror with bright red eyes, and it had just been staring at us for the longest time. And Alexa got closer to the mirror. I began to try to pull her away from the mirror, but her hypnotized state just didn't end. She kept repeating, "Zulu, Zulu, Zulu." And at this point, there was no stopping her. The shadow lunged forward and grabbed her. He pulled her into the mirror. The shadow let out a deep, dark laugh. I was so scared that I ran in terror out of the house. And there stood Alexa's mom. And when she asked where Alexa was, I was so shaken I couldn't even tell her that what I'd just seen was not only impossible, but couldn't have happened. Could it? Once again, Alexa's mom asked me in a stern voice, "Where is Alexa?" All I could do was look at her in horror. She started shouting at me, threatening to call the police, threatening to call my mother, and I could do nothing about it because I had already seen what had happened. Who was going to believe me? That what, her daughter got dragged into a mirror by a demon? They would have just laughed in my face. So I kept quiet. And when my mother did get home, and she asked, "Well, what happened to Alexa? What happened to Jennifer? Why am I getting all these weird calls from these parents asking me what the hell happened to their children at my house?" I looked at her, and I told her, "We were playing a game, and something horrible happened. Something I can't explain. I would have to show you." I led my mother into her room, and when she saw the Ouija board right up on the nightstand against the mirror, she panicked. "Please tell me you weren't playing with this. Please!" And all I could do was look at her, the dumbfounded look on my face of shock and horror. We never did find Alexa, and Jennifer never came over again. Well, I guess we learned a lesson in this story, didn't we? Be careful of what game you play, because it might just be lurking in the dark or in a tinted little mirror. Thank you for listening to Creep Night. Sure to send a chill down your spine.